Hi there. This is about the abusive cycles within families, even within societies, cultures. You know, this whole thing about abuses runs so deep within the human content that it comes in various phases, right? I want to mean by that various forms. I will say um, its abilities to rob you of your right. Okay. Uh, when any family, or anybody for that matter, culture, whatever, basically communicates to you that we have a something called a collective, right? Whether it be in a small pocket like a family or going out to society, a nation, a culture, whatever, a religion, and we do things a certain way, and you belong to us. Therefore, this is how you're supposed to operate. Here are the rules, follow it, and everything will be just fine. Now, what's really weird about abusive? They come in so many different forms and ways, right? And I mean, with abuse, it has all of its other little family members, like manipulation, okay, like make you feel less than, competitiveness, jealousy, uh, uh, straight outright bully, right? And in families, they'll have the bully, right? Um, like we've watched enough shows about, you see, but where the female member marries a man, and we have in a culture where it's okay for women to kind of like abuse men in a subtle way, right? Or have certain expectations. Society has basically built rights around that a guy is usually always in the wrong, right? I know, don't get me wrong, it also works the same too with men, right? Men, abusing, marrying a good woman. And you think to yourself, what is with that? How could a good woman see a bad guy and marry a bad man? Same vice versa, right? Because that's all they've ever known. That's the thing about abuse that makes abuse so complicated. It's the complexity of the familiarity. The more familiar the language is around the abusive situation, the more easier it is to tolerate and live inside of it because you've done it before, right? Now, what makes abuse really concerning is that it can get onto the demonic horses where they come riding into your life, especially when you start to break away on a spiritual level. Now, God, in any respect, that's why Jesus said things like, "Let the dead bury their own, but you come and follow me." And He says that He basically even laid down the groundwork that a man's enemies will be those of his own household. And when you use the word "man," it would apply to women too, right? Every time when you make a separation, why the collective don't like that separation, because you begin to create a ripple effect backwards at them. You begin to break up, you cause an earthquake in the spiritual environment. And if spiritual activity is involved, which a lot of times it is, right? um, what makes it a little more complicated, those spirits don't want to lose their house, which is whoever's hosting the larger hierarchy of the abuse within the structure, right? Whatever case may be, right? And the thing is that what you may not be able to see with your two physical eyes, these beings see what's going on around you, right? And the breaking away from, when you break away from anything abuse, if you are guaranteed to be receiving something of a on a healing nature, which means that you are not only escaping or moving away or detaching from, you're also receiving a different person. You're becoming healed. You're entering. One thing doesn't leave, and another, and nothing else happens. Right? Most of the time people do separate and leave abusive situations is because something happened to them on the inside, And the majority of it is that, hey, you got rights. You have the right. You have the right to peace, longevity, life, goodness, graciousness. And one of the other things too is that you are the kind of person that you are not going to carry on the cycle. So the doors get slammed shut on these demons, these evil things. They can't carry on through the bloodline anymore, because as the family members die off, right? They become a little more concerned, because who's going to host them now? An example is whether it be a parent, a mother, or father is about close. I've heard people, I've read people, it's kind of, maybe I need the confirmation. I'm not saying it's easy to deal with it, okay? But I've met people personally in my life that just came along and just said it. And I don't know how the conversation went down that avenue, or even reading forums, stuff from people saying the same thing. And this is it, that after they died, it seems like something lifted off of me and my life started to go really good. How, I mean, you think about it. This is abusive. It's abusive that a hierarchy structure in any level would want to hold you, contain you, imprison you, and watch you suffer, and not even have an inkling of, like, it's one thing when people see other people suffer, you would think they would kind of like going, you know what I mean? It makes them change. How can I help you? They don't do this. Family structures, whatever the case is, societies, cultures, whatever, they don't do this. As a matter of fact, it's easier for them to see you suffer and struggle, because that's what they're used to. And here's a crazy part about it. They like they like the idea that uh, they like the idea that you can't get out of it. And if they come to your aid, they come to your help, they come to your help looking good for the others to see them as some kind of hero. So they're not doing it by motivation of being kind and good hearted, like they care for you. They're doing it for another reason. And it's like, some people have a picture, it's helping you out with one hand, not a hand, have a dagger inside of it, right? Um, abuse is a very complex um, uh, way of manners. You look at it as a manner of a person, right? Because it's like I said, its main intention is to hold you down, right? Uh, I can go by personal experiences that when you start to level up, as people say, when you start to level up, that the abusive climate that you are in, because when you leave abuse, you are still gonna have some of the storms of it hanging around your peripheral of your life, right? No one never really escapes abuse completely until it's broken. The code is broken the inside. For instance, you have a wife fleeing a bad marriage, and the husband decides to go after her, or something really bad, or vice versa, right? If they've had kids, the children becomes the storm bringers in the future, because the children are part taken of that evil, that stuff, right? To break away from any form of abuse, what people have had to do, and it takes a lot of bravery, man. It takes a lot of courage, is where you completely cut all ties altogether. You know, let me say this, that I really think that, what is it worth in the end that you would stay for the sake of just being all nice and good and caring in something, or with someone, or even communicating, when you know the same is like a repetition and the same nonsense? You phone up your mother, you talking to her, and she slowly starts sending out little jibes through the conversation. She really saying she hopes you're not doing well, right? And right after you spoken to her or a father or whomever, you notice crazy weird things start happening. And you're thinking, that's not possible. That's not possible. How can they, like, what, you don't care about me? Yeah, you can't really grasp that. How is that possible? That you brought me up. I grew up with you. Yeah, I've known you from young. I was used to sit and have coffee with you in a social environment, whether it be in any social abuse or culture or whatever. And now you changed on me. Well, no, they didn't really change. They were just wearing a nice face for you. You see, the relative fact about any abusive situation with abusers is that behind the scenes, that's who they really are. And they're absolute evil. They're absolutely evil. And they are going to employ evil forces and on all levels. Because at night, you remember when you're lying there in your bed, whether you're going through some kind of spiritual activity on your own, don't think they're not doing the same thing. I don't think whilst you would be kind of God, I really hope, pray that, show that person, open it up, forgive that person, they're doing other stuff. They could have such a rage against you. They just start speaking out some of the most vicious words against your life, word curses. Or they go to contact somebody in your behalf and not realizing, oh my God, they just started a slew of spiritual attacks upon your life because of just being stupid. And that's another thing about abuse. Abusers are incredibly stupid. They will employ some of the most disgusting activity towards you, especially when they want to keep the communication going. You see, like as I said before, the thing is about breaking free from abusers and abuse in general is that the collective gets shaken up when you leave. The collective gets shaken up and it hits them to the core because yes, they have to face themselves. Yes, and not that, hey, that don't happen. With an abuser's abusiveness, that don't happen. Introspection, self-reflection, conscience, no, no, no. All of those things are enemies to the abusers. So I'm just going to leave you with this. Is it in your right to escape and walk away and completely live an abusive free life? You better believe it 100%. Is it completely you're partaking with it? Yes, you are, because it's living inside of you. How to get it outside of you, outside, completely out, it's going to take a while. It may take short time, long time, depending upon the process and the growth and the willingness, the work. I can't even go into all the words of it, how much God is involved and how much you're allowing God to be involved. But one thing is sure is that I will say when you're leading in abusive situations, know that you're going to have other people on the party line who are going to be coming into your life showing the very same qualities that you're trying and you're getting away from. Different face, same evil. Different face, same evil. Okay? And after a while, you'll notice I'm back into some familiar zone again. I recognize this because it's not that it's repeating itself. It's that they're not letting you go, and these are when spirits are involved, right? But I tell you something. There comes different moments in your life when that misery is cut, and you see the future, and you experience it, because don't think for a moment that God is not involved. Freedom is guaranteed to the one who wants to be free from abuse. As it said, that this is the right of every single person. As long as you put your faith in the Son of God, he said, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. And that is God's promise because of what Jesus did on the cross. That's it. That's the promises. That's the covenant. That is the guaranteed period, done, set, boom. And God is more powerful than any bondage. So I'll leave you with that, man. No abuse. Know that you're not going to carry it on, and it's not going to carry on inside of you. And know the opposite of abuse, because it's not a language we want to know, man. It's like looking at a beautiful ocean, going out to the ocean and enjoying it for the day, and having a great life, man. You know what? You can have a great, righteous life. Guaranteed, man. You don't need that. You don't need it. In the end, you got to live your story, man. Everyone is going to stand, every one of us are going to stand before God and give an account to ourselves. And you know what? You're not here to save anybody. You can't. You can't. And the best thing you can do, let abusers, let them go their way, man. They're on their journey, and the same thing that is available to you to have freedom, the same thing's available to them. They don't want it. They're only abusing themselves. Have a good day and do like and subscribe. Thank you.